Hello everyone, I'm Tom, and this is Come Sit at My Table. Today is day 2 of our series, A Taste for Blueberries. We're doing a video every day this week featuring one of North America's native fruits, the delicious blueberry. Today, we're going to make blueberry lemon loaf. Let's get started. For our lemon blueberry loaf, we are going to use 1 1/2 cups all-purpose flour with 2 teaspoons baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you want to use self-rising flour instead of all-purpose, you can do that. But then you're going to leave out the baking powder and the salt. Just omit those completely if you use self-rising flour. We're also going to use 2 6-ounce containers of vanilla yogurt. And that's for the vanilla flavor, but also for the moisture that it's going to add to the bread. Then we're going to use 1 cup of sugar. It's just regular white granulated sugar. 3 large eggs. The zest of 2 lemons, and I have already zested those. I know you've seen me do that in the past, so I've already zested those for us. 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, 1/2 cup of oil, and you can use vegetable oil or whatever oil you prefer to use. 2 cups of fresh blueberries and 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour that we will mix into the blueberries, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to just put that in, and then we will just stir that together. Melissa,
that'll work the same for self-rising.
Yes, self-rising is fine. Yes, you can use all-purpose or self-rising, but we're just going to combine that because if our blueberries are coated in flour, they won't have a tendency to sink to the bottom of our blueberry loaf. So it's nice just to toss them in a little bit of flour, and that helps them just stay up in the batter. Now, once our loaf is finished baking and it comes out, while it is starting to cool, we will make a syrup to pour over it to soak in that bread for moisture. And that is 1/3 of a cup of fresh lemon juice and 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, just white sugar. Then, once it is completely cooled and we have removed it from the loaf pan, we will make a glaze to pour over the top. This is optional. You can do this, you don't have to. The glaze will be made of 1 cup powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice, and 1 tablespoon of Karo syrup. All right, now, we are ready to get started making our lemon blueberry loaf. And we're just going to start by putting all of our dry ingredients in our mixer and letting those blend together for just a few seconds before we add our liquid ingredients. So we're just going to put those all in together. And I'll put our paddle on and let that just combine for a second. It doesn't take long. Now we can start adding everything else. I'm going to go ahead and put the sugar in and let that combine too. Just let that go around a little bit. Okay. Now let's get our eggs, our lemon zest, our yogurt, our lemon extract, and our oil. I'm just going to, let me grab a little spatula here to scrape out our yogurt. So I'm going to take this off until I get everything in. And honestly, you just dump it all in. It just all goes in there. Really easy recipe to put together. Comes together pretty quickly. This is going to be like a quick bread or a sweet bread. It's not like a loaf of homemade bread. I don't want to mislead you or make you think you're making homemade bread. Somebody who hasn't done this before may not understand this. This is like a sweet bread. I guess you could almost say it's like a dessert bread. But it is so good. This yogurt especially really, well, and the oil too, really helps it have a lot of moisture. Okay, we have that in. Let's get our eggs in. We'll do those one at a time. By the way, yesterday on our first video of the blueberry series, we had a little trivia question. And I asked if anyone knew which state in the United States was the largest producer of wild blueberries and which state is the major producer, the largest producer of cultivated blueberries. Now, I've done some research. I've been on probably half a dozen websites just to make sure the answer is correct. And everything I have found says that the state of Maine is the largest producer. I'm going to put my lemon zest in, by the way. Maine is the largest producer, the major producer of wild blueberries. While Washington State, all the way on the other coast, is the #1 producer of cultivated blueberries. Isn't that interesting? But I also learned that even though it's not part of the United States, Canada is a major producer of blueberries. And Mexico also produces quite a few blueberries. And from what I've read, blueberries are one of only 4 berries that are native to North America. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to put in our 1 teaspoon of lemon extract. Just going to drizzle that in. Should we do another trivia question today?
Sure, why not? Do you have enough information about blueberries that you can do one for the whole series?
I don't know about that. I might. I can try. So here's the trivia question today. You all are finding out I'm really a nerd.
The teacher in you just won't go away.
Do what?
The teacher in you just won't go away.
It won't. Okay, here's today's question. What did the Native Americans, the indigenous people of North America, what did they call blueberries? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't blueberries. They had another name for blueberries. What did they call them?
Be interesting to see what goes into the comments today.
Yeah. If you have a guess, you want to make a guess, or if you know, put your guess or your answer down in the comments section at the bottom. We'll see what people come up with. What was the name for blueberries by the indigenous people of North America? What we call Native American Indians.
This smells so good.
It smells wonderful, doesn't it? I was just thinking, I could eat some right now. Forget baking it. Okay, now we need to put in our blueberries, and we're going to do that carefully. We're not just going to stir them in. We're actually going to fold them in. So we're going to take the blueberries that have been tossed in that flour and whatever flour is in the bottom, and we're just putting all that in there. We need that flour too. That's going to help bind our lemon blueberry loaf together. By the way, just a few weeks ago, we did a whole series on lemon. And I really considered doing this recipe during that series because I love this bread. But I got the idea while we were planning that series to do this blueberry series. And I told Melissa, I said, I'm going to save this yogurt or this lemon blueberry loaf for our blueberry series because I think it will be so good. Okay, now we're going to take our loaf pan. This is a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan, and I have put oil in it, and then I lined it with parchment paper just to help it release. Oh, I see some flour right there that didn't get completely stirred in. Okay, you don't want to over stir it once you add the blueberries and that extra flour. Just stir it until you notice that that flour is gone. Okay. Let me scrape this bowl because you know.
We know you're not going to leave that batter behind.
You know I'm not. We paid for that. We need to eat it. Right?
Actually, my scrapbooking friends are going to eat it, but...
That's true.
We'll talk very highly of you while we do.
Melissa is having a girls' scrapbook weekend at the house of one of our friends. And she's taking this with her, which is for the best, so I don't eat the whole thing. Because I will tell you, I love blueberries. Anything with blueberries in it. I just absolutely love them. Okay, so we're going to put this in a preheated 350 degree oven for about 50 minutes. When it's finished, when I think it's about finished, I will test the center of it with a little sharp knife or a toothpick. If it's done in the middle, if the toothpick or knife comes out clean and I can tell that the middle is done, I will take it out. We're going to let it start to cool on the counter. And after it's cooled for 15, 20 minutes, we'll come back and make the lemon syrup that we're going to pour over it and finish the next step of the recipe. All right, into the oven we go. All right, let's make our lemon syrup to pour over our bread. And Melissa, you might want to let them see what the bread looks like sitting over there now that it's out of the oven. All right. I have the lemon juice and the sugar in our pan, and I'm just going to bring that to a boil. Let that sugar completely dissolve before we drizzle it over our warm loaf of blueberry lemon loaf. The syrup is boiling, so let's pour it on our bread. Now we're just going to drizzle it. We don't want to dump it on there. We just want to drizzle it and give it time to soak down into our blueberry lemon loaf. And you can see that I am purposefully putting it in the areas where the bread has cracked open during baking, because that's just a natural place for it to soak in. I'm putting it on the rest of the loaf too, but I'm putting the majority of it in that area that has cracked open. Now we don't want to take it out of the pan quite yet, because we want that syrup to have time to soak in before we take it out. If we take it out right now, we're going to leave a lot of that syrup right down in the bottom of the pan. So let's just let it sit. We'll continue to drizzle it all over the bread. Make sure, and this will glaze it a little bit too. That is lemon syrup. It's got sugar in it. So this will give it a nice glaze too. All right, I think that's it. So we're going to let it sit, and when it's completely cooled, we will come back and glaze it. The syrup has soaked into our blueberry lemon loaf, so let's make the glaze. We're going to start by putting in our powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of Karo syrup, and we will start with our lemon juice. But I'm probably not going to put it all in at once. We'll put part of it in just to make sure that we need it all. So that's about half of it. And here's the really nice thing about a glaze. If it's too loose, all you have to do is put some more sugar in. Put a little more powdered sugar. If it's too thick and won't run, it's just too thick to run, all you have to do is put a little more liquid in. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't use all of that lemon juice, but for my liking, that's just a little too thin. Let me make sure it's... Alyssa, you stay right there, and I'm just going to grab a little more powdered sugar. Put just a little more in and see how that does. And if we need more, we can put more in. And if it's too much, we'll add a little more lemon juice. See how it works. Oh, that's much better. Still not thick, but it's definitely thicker. I want it to be able to run down the sides of the loaf, but I don't want it so thin that it just runs off either. Okay. So I think I'm just going to drizzle it using my whisk. We'll just let it run down over the loaf like that. If you want to, you can just pour it on. You don't have to drizzle it. You can just put it on the way you want to. Let's just do that. Let's just drizzle it from here. I'm making a mess out of it. It looks really pretty. Okay. Let's let that harden for just a few minutes, and then we will come back and slice it up. Our blueberry lemon loaf has been cooled. We've put the syrup on, we've glazed it, and now we're ready to try a bite of it to see what it's like. I know who's going to take the first bite. And I want you to look how the blueberries are all the way through this.
That little trick with the flour is a great one, isn't it?
Yeah, buddy. All right, baby, you ready? Mm-hmm. This is so moist. It's unbelievable.
Lemon and blueberries are a great combination.
They are.
It's so good.
I have always loved this loaf. It is sweet from those blueberries, but it's got that lemon tang.
It's a nice combination.
Man, that's good. I'm glad I get at least one piece before Melissa takes this to her scrapbook friends. Thank you for watching our video. We do appreciate it. We hope you're enjoying Blueberry Week. Right below this video, you can click the thumbs up. That's the like button. And if you haven't before, we would sure appreciate you clicking that subscribe button and the little notification bell beside of it, and then the word all. Remember that if you click the title of this video in the description box, that description box will expand. Melissa always puts the written recipe right there for you, and our contact information is right under that recipe. And then Of course, there is a place at the bottom where you can leave a comment for us. I know YouTube has changed their format somewhat, and some people may now be seeing the comments over on the right side of the screen. So if you're looking at it on a desktop, that may be where they are, but we sure would appreciate you leaving us a comment. Remember, we had a question a while ago. We're going to see who knows the answer. What was the name of blueberries as known by the Native American Indians? What did they call blueberries? They didn't call them blueberries. We'll talk about that answer tomorrow. All right, thanks for joining us. We sure do appreciate it. We want you to remember, you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.